Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Friday Vibes Centonomy Campus Edition. My name is Esther and today we are going to talk about my journey through Centonomy and what I've learned all through. So I got started with Centonomy in 2016 around July. I used to go to lunch with my best friend a couple of times, and during those days she would come on Saturday. It will be on Saturday afternoon, so she will talk about how they've learned, entrepreneurship skills. She'll tell me stories about what they've learned in the campus edition class. At that time, she hadn't told me that she's taking money classes. So afterwards, it's when I got to know it's Centonomy Campus Edition, when she invited me to the hangout and the graduation. Actually, the hangout I attended was like the very first hangout that Centonomy did for Campus Edition, and I remember the speakers were Adele Onyango and Washake Ndwati, who was the founder of Centonomy. So at that point, I think what inspired me was my best friend can't know these things, yet for me I don't know. I had to know these things. So I signed up for Campus Edition, not knowing how I'm going to pay for it. At the time, I was actually doing my attachment at Cambridge. I'm a biotechnology graduate. And along the way, you learn how I shifted from biotechnology to where I am right now. So I was doing my internship, attachment there. And at the time when I went for attachment, that's when I realized I don't really want to pursue biotech, because I don't want to stay in the lab every single time. Let's just say it was a bit boring for me. I love science. I still read articles around biotech space, but I realized that wasn't the life. But you have to finish school anyway. So at that point I signed up for Campus Edition. I was told you can pay in installments, and what I would do to get money then, I used to do online writing from Monday to Friday. So I will come from my attachment at Cambridge and then do online writing throughout the night. So I was pretty much sleep deprived. And then on Saturdays and sometimes on Sundays, I will do stock taking at my cousin's clothes shop. So I talked to my parents about paying for the class. And guess what? My parents, being our African parents, they didn't understand why I need to take a money course. I mean, for them, they haven't taken a money course. They've never even heard about Centonomy. So what am I telling them that I need money to pay for our course? And then, so you see, I'd already decided that I wanted to take the class. So what do? I pretty much started paying in installments. I used to pay installments. Sometimes I'll just have 1K. The other week I don't have any money, so I'll call ahead and be like, "Hey, can I just come?" And then I look for money the next class. Then I will follow up on my payments for stock taking and also online writing, because when you're doing online writing, sometimes you're paid per month, so you can't afford the installments. But I was so determined. Anyway, now let me tell you the first day of class. By the time I was doing the class, I was a very shy person. In fact, the person I was then and me here in front of a camera, very different. So I remember I came to the first class, and it was at Victoria Plaza in Westlands. And the people who are attending the class, have you ever been in a class and felt like everybody is smarter than you? Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but people, when they were introducing themselves, there are some people who used to sit at the back. I'll never forget a group of guys who used to sit at the back. They were from USIU and from Strathmore. I think they knew each other before the class, and those guys used to do were already doing good in business. One used to sell, I think, sneakers. Another person had bakery business and things like that. People who are doing good, and I was so challenged in that class. So that was my very first lesson. Campus Edition, I was challenged to do better, to want better, and I wasn't doing so bad myself. But when you compare yourself to others, because it's pretty normal as a human being to compare yourself, I really thought, hey, I got to do better. And then also now, I was talking about being shy. So during class, during break, you come out and get snacks for class. So since now I already think that everybody is smarter than me, I didn't want to talk to anyone, and I didn't want anybody to talk to me, for just that fear of not being good enough and all that. So I sat in the class. So Wendy who's now my supervisor, at that time she used to manage the Campus Edition program. She came to my desk and she was just like, do you need some tea? Do you need anything? And I was pretty much encouraged, like, Yani, you've come all the way from outside, just ask me whether I need tea. At first she thought I was a snob, but pretty much I just didn't want to talk to people. And also during classes I really got to learn a lot about managing my money better. And I wouldn't want to use this word per se, but I thought I was really naive when it comes to managing money, because I've grown up in shags and all that. So the one thing when you grow up in shags is that money doesn't grow on trees, and in fact it was pretty hard to come by. So I learned some lessons about managing my money better. I started saving my money. I started budgeting, like seriously budgeting, because that time I was staying alone. Sorry, not alone. I was staying with a friend in a bedsitter at Kahawa and Dani. Anyway, so after Campus Edition, I remember the graduation was around July, which I couldn't attend because I was working that Saturday, doing the stock taking at my cousin's shop. But after that, I got to join the ambassador program. So I remember when they put out the call for people to apply, and it was pretty extensive. I didn't even think I would get this thing, but ile unasema tuacha nijaribu tu, let me just try. And that's my second lesson. Like, you always have to just try. What's the worst that people can tell you? The worst that people can tell you is no, and you'll be fine. You'll just move on. They won't kill you or anything. So I applied. I wrote nice things, and then I was called for the interview. When I was coming for the interview, I was so nervous because I didn't know. I hadn't like volunteered before. I hadn't been in such a position before. But funny enough, I was picked. And you see, during the interview, one thing I was told was that you know, my application on paper and how I was talking during the interview wasn't the same. So it seems like my application on paper was really shallow, and they could have chosen not to call me. But when they called me, I was able to, let's say, articulate myself a bit and, you know, prove that I can be a good ambassador, even though I didn't know what it entailed. So when you're doing any application, always think through, like, also the writing and everything that you are submitting, and even ask friends, like, what do they think? Will they hire you if they were in such a position? Anyway, now throughout my ambassador program, that's when I really grew, because we got to interact with a lot of people from other universities, and we got like extra trainings on marketing and sales. How did this help me? So after Cambridge, I used to work 4 days in a week at my cousin's shop in town, and I was pretty much the one doing almost everything. So I learned a lot about marketing and sales. Anyway, now at the time I used to work at my cousin's shop 4 days in a week, and then 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, I would go to biotechnology classes. I'm studying for my cards, studying for the exams, and it was pretty tough. And at the same time, I was also doing online writing at night. You know, sometimes when you're in campus, you have to support yourself in terms of rent and your daily expenses. So at that time, also, we had started a business with my best friend. We used to sell mtumba clothes in campus. So let me do a little bit of the math for you. We will go to Rongai on Sunday. There will be no traffic. And then sometimes we'll go to Gikomba. You get like a top for 10 bob, for 20, 30 bob. Unakuja unauzia watu 150, 200. The jackets, you'll get like, there's a Rongai market, I don't know whether it still exists, that used to have trench coats at 50 bob. Then you'll come and sell them for 300, 350. So the first day, if you are in KU now, you know Nyayo and all that, all those areas. See, I tried to, we sold like items for 1,000 bob. We were so excited that day. We were just like, we are going to do this business, we are going to make it. At that time, there weren't like Instagram shops and things like that. I wish we knew that then. Then one day, I've come from work in town, so we are in KU at like 9 p.m. walking from hostel to hostel, and we sold nothing. Tulizunguka the All the hostels trying to say, we need to go to one extra, maybe we'll make one sale. We sold nothing. That was the end of our business, guys. Like, that was the end. And what that taught me is you should never give up. Imagine if we had just pushed on and then discovered the Instagram shops, how far we would be. And you see, I'll also take that back to the campus edition class in entrepreneurship. Like, you really have to think about the entrepreneurship venture that you're getting into, or the business you're getting into, and learn that things aren't going to happen there and then. So at that point, the lesson I learned is life is a process. Everything is a process. Nothing comes immediately. You have to put in the effort and you have to be consistent, and one day things will work out. So anyway, I finished school while being an ambassador, and after finishing school, I stayed for like 7 months without any job, but I wasn't even looking for one. First, I knew that I wasn't going to do biotechnology. From the time I did my internship in 3rd year to all through to 4th year, I was actually pretty worried about what am I going to tell my parents. And you've been in school for 4 years and you're not going to pursue it. So I stayed for like 7 months. Now the good thing is I was staying alone. I wasn't staying with my parents. If I was staying with my parents, let me tell you, like, I would have been told every day and every single day, you need to look for a job, you need to look for an internship in biotech, But I was pretty solid. I'm not pursuing biotech, and I'm not going to waste any single minute in biotech. Now, at that point, I'd actually started a blog before, it's also in the biotech space, and then had killed it because also at the time where I realized I'm not going to pursue it. So those 7 months, what did I do? I really thought through what are the important things to me at that point. So at that point, I was volunteering for the Centonomy Campus Brand Ambassadors. It was actually I had been picked for the 2nd year. I was also working part-time at my cousin's shop, and I was doing online writing. So the thing that was making an impact was the ambassador, being a brand ambassador, and just being able to make an impact in the youth space. So I decided, and I was really good at it. Like, by that time I had gotten really good at it. So I decided that's what I'm going to pursue. So at some point when you had the campus edition hangouts, I was actually an MC for the event. And that one I was pretty pushed to it. You know, if you're an MC for the events, you know way before time that you're going to be an MC, what you're going to say, and things like that. So my fellow ambassador was going to be the MC. And then during the event, like the first few of the event, she was just like, I can't do this thing. So when I was an MC for the event and I ran the whole event, I remember it was at 680 Hotel in town. That when it started clicking that I could actually do this, because I would talk about lessons in the youth space, things I had learned in campus edition and things like that, and I could see that the audience was receptive. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to pursue this. I talked to know those I knew here at Centonomy. I talked to Wendy, and I decided to apply for an internship. So in the Centonomy Campus Edition class, we have a module called Career Planning, where you are taught that for any company to take you, or any business, you have to be showing value, or you have to be adding value to that company. So I didn't even have like a solid CV then, but what I wrote was a value proposition. So I sent that to Wendy, and then also Wendy sent it to Waithaka Gatumia, who then was the general manager. They looked at it and they were like, yeah, let her come for the internship. So I came for the interview before that. It was a pretty subtle interview, and then I was called for the internship, which was 3 months. Centonomy wasn't even looking for an intern, but I really pushed. I did the follow-up. I wrote to Waithaka, I wrote to Wendy. Like, I kept pushing until I was called for the interview and called for the position. So now when I got the internship for the first 3 months, remember what's my education background? It's biotechnology. But I had built a good rapport when I was an ambassador with the Centonomy staff. So I took the opportunity to learn as much as I can, and now I was under Wendy managing Centonomy Campus Edition. So we used to do it together. I realized the gaps that were there, and I started doing better in them. And after the 3 months, good enough, I was picked for the position because I showed the value. I added value to the company. I added value to the Centonomy Campus Edition Program. So this is my second year working at Centonomy now as a full-time employee. And what my journey like now as a team member at Centonomy has been is how will I say this? It has put me out of my comfort zone. I've learned so much about digital media, working with young people, understanding the needs of young people. And when I took the role of being the head of Centonomy Campus Edition, I was pretty scared, because sometimes people will tell you that you need to have the education and all that. But if you are good and you know you are smart and you know that you can learn these things, don't close out the opportunities for you guys. So even starting this Friday Vibe series, that was pretty out of the comfort zone, because even the first video we did, we had to take so many breaks and things like that. But along the journey, I've learned that there's nothing that you can't do good at. You just need to put in the time and the effort. So guys, that has been my journey at Centonomy. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll answer them in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Have a blessed day, guys.